Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Farm, Repeat NZ. Today I've got a big day planned, but everything for the morning is as per usual. We've got heifers to feed, we've got calves to feed, we've got cows to feed, so we better get up the farm and get that done. But it's the afternoon where it gets interesting. I'll be going for a drive and having you guys come along too. So sit tight and you'll see how us farmers band together to get the job done.
Laying in your bed, fighting ghosts in my head. Wish that I could let you go. Remember all we had. How could we get this bad? Where did we lose our...
So how about you guys sit back, I'll feed these girls 10 kgs of fodder beet and you guys can watch the clouds move past the mountains.
You live, you learn. When your heart is set to burn, fading away until the light will return. Someone bring me back to the time when our hearts unite. Bring me back to the time when our hearts...
Check. So that's these two herds shifted. Now these girls here are a little bit different to these girls here. These ones here are heavier, so they get fed 10 kgs of fodder beet and then 2 kgs of straw. Whether these girls get 10 kgs of fodder beet, 2 kgs of silage and 2 kgs of straw. So the next herd to shift is up here, and these girls are fed the same 10 kgs of fodder beet, 2 kgs of silage and 2 kgs of straw. So I'm just going to go shift them without the camera, but I just forgot actually they do get fed minerals as well. Just like you and me, we need minerals. We need extra minerals through winter, don't we? Well, these girls here get fed extra minerals as well through winter in order to keep their digestive system all running at full capacity, and also to keep them healthy and well so that they milk well through the milking season. It also helps their bone structure as well, simply because fodder beet is low in calcium.
Overflow from...
Holy shit.
So there's a wet corner there and we just put an overflow in, which that should have been drained back around to the creek. And it's just scoured it all out, pushed the trees over and...
So the Ashburn River's right there,
Yep.
It's overflowed through and in,
Yeah.
and it's just gouged this all out.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. So where the diggers are working up there is where it broke out, which is
Yeah.
just above our farm.
Yeah.
So it's made a path straight through there.
Yeah, the photos just don't do it justice, do they?
No. Yeah, like what I've been telling everyone that's asked how we're going. Yeah, we're all good, but if you want to come for a look at the photos, don't do it justice. Come for a look and we'll take you for a cruise around.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's the same, like they shake their head and think, wow. So I've got Hammers coming in a couple of weeks to hopefully fix this track, and we'll scrape some of the shingle off and put it back in the hole, I guess, and remove these last few trees, but what do you do?
So when the earth movers come, who pays for that?
Us, I suppose.
You guys have got to fit the bill through insurance or anything, or
You can't insure dirt,
can't insure dirt? Yeah.
can't insure ground, can't insure dirt. So all the tracks and the capping that's been washed away, which is what, 30-40 grand's worth of lime tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can't insure it, so it's
You just got to
Just gotta
take the hit.
take the hit, yeah. Along with the 15-20 hectares up the back that's going to be out for a year or 18 months probably.
Yeah, because it's all just covered in shingle
Yep,
like
it's
this.
thicker than that
Yeah.
in places. In places this whole creek's still done.
So what about your trough lines and all of that? That's all been washed. Some of that's been washed away.
we went to the last operational trough and dug it up and found the line that goes through to the next paddock down and just cut it and plugged it off.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's all been turned back on, and as far as I know there's been no new leaks, eh?
Yeah.
Pretty hard to tell though, isn't it?
Yeah, so then I guess we'll have to spark the rudder in and line up and see what the state of the underground main is next. Yeah, the power of water, it's incredible.
It is. So it started raining on the Friday night.
And the water had got reasonably high but hadn't affected any stock or the main buildings. But yeah, all this from here right through was in running water,
Yeah.
and it was in running water until the Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday it was running water through until they put a 60 tonner up there and plugged the gap in the river.
So it stopped raining about Monday, and the water carried on until
Yeah, it was running through
Friggin'
here until
Wednesday.
Wednesday, and that only stopped because they put a
block it.
a block out there and put the river back in the river, so to speak.
Far out.
And so yeah, so the winter milk cows were staying on the yard for about 20 hours, and we milked them once a day Sunday, once a day Monday before we got back in a normal routine on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we did, yeah.
Right. And so, just to be clear, you're kind of on an island here, aren't you? Because you've got the Ashburton.
We've got the south branch of the Ashburton River on this side, and then the north branch of the Ashburton River about 15 k's that way,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And they both.
Yeah, they
collide
both
before-
flow down Green Street and they meet, and then the north branch goes into the south Ashburton about 5 k's that way.
Yeah, before Ashburton Township.
Before the Ashburton Township.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're doing here is just simply cutting the wire out of all this debris, because there's no way in hell you're going to untangle or save this. You may have just thought I was having a fit, didn't you? Who the fucking...
I get that part, Mitchell. Oh, is that what? Oh,
right. Oh, okay, I understand now.
Fucking makes some sense now.
Yeah. I didn't know what we were doing there for a second. This is probably a perfect time to tell you guys that the ground is still quite wet. Wait a minute guys, you just gotta test the power. No, we're good, we're good. So as you can see, we're just freeing up the fences around these drains. So the water's flown down these paddocks, out of the Ashburton River, flown down the paddocks and into these drains. It's tried to get away, but there's been too much water to do so. Now, as you can see, all the way around, it's taken out that bottom wire and just wrapped it up in grass. So our job here is just to simply get that grass and debris off the wires so that TJ's family can get cows back into this paddock and get their farm functioning again. So this debris has got wrapped around this barbed wire, and it's just literally metre by metre we're clearing these fences. Hey, did anyone check that this is still their property? Yeah, someone comes out here, gives us an earful. What are you doing? Oh, we're just clearing your fences, mate. Oh, okay. So parts of their paddock have been reduced to basically the same surface as a beach. As you can see, all this debris has just washed up on the posts. And it's just going to be ages until this farm's back to normal. For the topsoil itself has taken a massive hit. It's either been washed away, had stones dumped on it, or been reduced to sand. All the way up here, every post has got trees and branches wrapped around it. So all we could do is cut sections of wire and pull the wire out so that they can come in here with the tractor to get rid of all these logs, branches and debris. Do you enjoy being on camera, Sam?
No,
we have just finished up moving all the fences out of the way, cutting out wires from trees, posts, and now the gang's just gone to empty that trailer, and so I've jumped in the tractor with TJ and we're just going to feed out to these girls here in this big feed barn.
Sorry, the second engine. Sorry, there's brakes on the mixer wagon.
Oh,
and
right.
so you stop like that when you touch them.
So you guys got bedding there as well?
Yeah, so that area was built mainly to calve cows on. So we've got the strawberry there. We can fit about 40 calving cows on there in the spring.
Yeah.
So it was mainly made so that we could put, if it was a really wet spring, we could put calving cows in there.
Yeah.
And you just check them and check them and check them, and as soon as the calf's out, you put an identification on it.
Yeah.
So that you don't get too much mismothering and what have you. But this time of year when we're not calving, we've got certain cows that we can't get to sleep in the beds. And so they're out on grass by day, and then we put them in here overnight. And then so then the Pinot switch around, so we've got the Pinot mob. They go in here during the day and then they're out overnight.
Very hard to feed out with this trailing item, or is it quite easy?
The mixer wagon, it's quite easy. You just gotta, once you get the hang of it, it's real easy, because you just gotta know how much is coming out, how much for each group, and stuff like that, really. So it's just about managing the feed.
Yeah. And so you're watching the scales?
Yeah, I'm more watching the scales. Once you get the hang of things, you know where you're driving. Watching the scales, watching how much food's left, residual food's left as well. Trying to balance it all out so that it all sort of marries up, and yeah, once you know how many animals are in each group and stuff like that, and where you're going and how much each group gets and stuff like that, so we try and keep it as simple as possible.
How long has your family been on this property?
So Mum and Dad have been here. Dad came here when he was 1, so that was like 1955ish.
1955.
Yeah, and so Pop come here, and there's all of about 4 paddocks back here, and then the old homestead on the corner of Hills Road.
Yep.
And so and sheep yards and wool sheds and stuff were all here. So they've added obviously the cow shed and the cattle yards. They did the first bit of conversion in '82 when they converted to dairy.
Have you guys ever seen an event, the river overflowing like
No,
this?
never. Like we've seen it close-ish, but we've never ever seen it overflow. We've had water on paddocks and stuff like that, but we've never ever seen water to the scale that we've had.
How has the recovery gone? You've been contacted by rural support.
Yep. So we've had various groups, rural support, come in and seen us. What else has been in? Well, we've had other working groups drop off care packages and food packages and stuff like that. But other than that, we haven't really heard from a lot of people. We haven't really heard from district council or anyone like that.
Government.
No, we haven't heard from government or anyone like that. We had ECAN on site yesterday, but they didn't really answer our questions because they don't really know themselves. So yeah, we're not, as far as clearing the shingle off our back paddock through failings of ECAN, river and riverbank protection. We're no further ahead on. Well, we could clear it and put money into it, but that's sinking our own money into ECAN's cock up.
Yeah.
And why should we do that? ECAN should be coming to us with solutions and what have you, in my opinion.
And so how long do you think until you'll be 100% again?
Who knows? The proposed new stock banks, they're going to eat into land and potentially change our setup and systems as well. So who knows on things like that.
What level does the river normally run at?
Oh, normally anywhere from 10 to 30 cubics through the winter.
Yeah. And do you know what it ran at?
It got up as high as 1480, I think it was. 1480 cubics. So that's cubic meters. I can't remember exactly.
Per second, isn't it?
Is it per second? I can't remember.
Second,
I think it's cubic meters per second it was running at.
Yeah.
So that's
So from about 20 up to 1480.
Yep, that's right.
That's quite a. Well, that's the reason why it burst.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 400 or 500 mil of rain up in Mount Summers doesn't help. Yeah.
And so you guys only received about 180 mils
here.
Yeah,
I think that's what we recorded. Yeah.
But you've copped it because the rivers haven't been maintained.
Hasn't been maintained. They haven't been cleaned out. We've actually just paid some money to get a consent to take shingle out of the river in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Which now we're not going to need because we've probably got twice as much as what we want on our back paddock.
Yeah. So how is your farming operation here going to be hit with all the ground that's been taken out by the river overflowing?
And to be fair, it's going to be hit in the grazing area is what's been most damaged for us. We've lost. We've had 40 hectares underwater, and out of that 40 hectares there's 15 to 20 that's under shingle. The rest of it's recoverable, but it's all going to take time. So in the here and the now, we're going to have cows in the barn a lot longer than we normally do. Normally we don't like having cows in the barn much after the middle of September. We like to utilise grass as much as we can.
Obviously Sunday being the worst day that the flooding happened, what was it like here? What was it for you guys?
Okay.
What was your day?
Yeah, so I was on Sunday, I was down here until maybe 1 in the afternoon. Mum and Dad had already had water through their house by about 11 o'clock that morning. Their house is just off Ashford and Stavely Road.
Yeah.
So there's water from the North Branch. And so we were maintaining, keep watching that river up there. Yep. And stuff like that. It was getting pretty full by then, but we weren't aware it was going to come up as much as what it did.
Yeah. And
anyway, so I was here until about 1, went home, had a quick bit of lunch, was back here by 2, and there was at least a foot of water running through the yards and stuff over there, where the maize pit and stuff like that is.
Yeah.
I had dry cows in a paddock that needed to be shifted because they were up to their knees in water. We couldn't take them around the normal track because that was going over a creek which was now in complete flood, and the water was fair moving. It was going that fast that when I went over it with the motorbike, it actually pushed the motorbike a little bit. So there's no way I was going to take cows over it. So I ended up walking cows back down the main tanker track, cutting across the paddock, cutting a hole in the fence to get them back on the right spot where I wanted them on some high ground.
Yeah.
And from then we went on. We were going to attempt to milk the cows, the winter milk cows. So they were currently in the barn. We got them out of the barn and then made the decision that they're best to be left on the cow yard. The water was rising really quickly. We felt it was better for us to leave rather than sit around and watch and end up having to be a rescue. So we made the decision to leave. We couldn't get the motorbikes, tractors, we couldn't get motorbikes or trucks back down Hills Road. It was completely flooded out. So we ended up taking tractors to get home. The water was probably about halfway up the tractor wheels. Yeah. Especially through the culvert at Hills Road there. From there we let all the cows out. I put all our autumn-born cows in one group. They got put on some high ground. Yeah. And pretty much I left, went inside, grabbed some bits and pieces, and the army was there and they took us out in Unimogs. And from there we had a pretty nervous sort of a night, not knowing what we were going to come back to the next day.
Yeah. What was that feeling like? Just empty? Just an empty,
uncontrollable, inconsolable feeling, like not knowing what was going to be here. Like 15, 20 years of hard work could be just washed away. Yeah. Who knows? Like we're a pedigree Holstein herd, and I've got years of work into genetics and stuff like that. So the thought of that just being washed away just made me sick, really.
So they're just not normal cows, are they? They're
no, not normally.
Part of the family, but also it's quite an elite family as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say elite, but yeah, we've been breeding bigger than average cows in North American genetics that you can't really find that available in New Zealand. So yeah. And so they had 20 hours on the cow yard from when we left to when we got back to them. Which wasn't ideal, but it was better than them being washed away, one might say.
Exactly. Here we're pretty good, just flowed straight through, but here being right beside the river, you've taken a big hit.
Yeah, it's affected 40 to 50 of 200 hectares, I suppose. Yeah. So if it's not under shingle, it's had some sort of silt damage or a fence washed away.
Yeah.